would like to welcome you all to this other webinar on audiovisual translation and more particularly on subtitling. We are very pleased to welcome our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Ahmad Khuddro, who had in fact a talk several days ago, but unfortunately there were some technical issues faced. We could not see each other. We could listen to each other, but there was a problem with image and Zoom platform in particular. These are some of the drawbacks in using those online platforms. Sometimes they are not as effective as we might expect them to be. This is another chance with another topic with him, so we have not repeated the topic. He was speaking at that time on conference interpreting and his experience as a conference interpreter, and today we are going to speak about audiovisual translation and basically the subtitling triangle. And our guest is going to speak about that triangle, but is going to split this triangle into 3 more triangles. So it is an informal exchange, an interactive discussion, but he will be given 20 to 30 minutes to present some stuff to you so that we can frame the discussion, and then we are going to start the Q&A session. We have almost 1 hour, 15 minutes. I know our guest is from speaking from Saudi Arabia, Jeddah in particular, and now it is 15 past 10 over there. So it is a little bit late, but he kindly accepted to go a little bit longer than initially expected. We will see how things evolve. Dr. Ahmad Khuddro, an academic and practitioner in audiovisual translation. He is currently teaching translation and interpreting at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels at Effat University, KSA. He is also a visiting professor in screen translation at London City University, UK, having formerly served in the same capacity at Bologna University, Italy. He is a member of the Institute of Linguists in London and Subtitling, an association that endeavors to achieve excellence in subtitling. His publications include Arabic-English syntax in translation, equivalence at word and sentence levels, published in 2013. Another publication is Translating Business English into Arabic, Business and Islamic Finance Texts. Was published in 2016. Another publication, Linguistic Issues and Quality Assessment of English-Arabic Audiovisual Translation 2018 and Specialized Translation 2019, in addition to 2 academic articles in Turjuman journal 1997 and 2000, and another 4 in academic peer-reviewed journals 2016, and 1 book chapter on the subtitling triangle, which is the subject of this discussion and talk this evening, in Translating Regionalized Voices in Audiovisuals 2009. He has participated in a number of international audiovisual translation conferences, 1996, 2000, King Fahed Academy, Elsaadi University, Tangiers, Morocco, and so on and so forth. He, as I said earlier, is a practicing interpreter and also teaching interpreting, teaching masters and undergraduate courses in principles and ethics, advanced interpreting and conference interpreting. He is a practicing community practicing community interpreting for social, medical, educational services, and he served that in the UK, and simultaneous interpreting for MBC TV and Al Jazeera TV, British and Arab Chamber of Commerce, London, from 1998 to 2010. This is our guest, ladies and gentlemen. We are really very pleased to welcome him again. It's for the second time, and we had a coincidence last time. I had a friend, a very close friend of mine, Professor Hafid Gharbi, with whom I taught at University of Sousse, and he happened to teach with Dr. Khuddro at the same university. And you know, sometimes the world is too small to imagine. So here we are again, Dr. Khuddro. You have the floor.
Thanks very much. Thank you very much indeed. And thanks everyone for accepting to attend this talk. Thank you. It was, I'm so grateful, but at the same time, so humble to hear all these achievements. I didn't realize that I'd done all that over the years. Whether it's interpreting live for Al Jazeera channel or with a subtitling for Walt Disney or other like Discovery and all other channels, Hallmark, and with various films such as When in Rome, Perfect Storm, 007, Pirates of the Caribbean, and so many others I can't remember because I used to do that in the, from 2000 to 2010. Now, today's, I understand from, thank you very much, Dr. Salhi, for introducing me and also for informing me that the students or the attendants here are mostly from first year who haven't been introduced to subtitling or to audiovisual more as such. So therefore, I am going to talk about subtitling. I might go into details a little bit on subtitling. I have only a a very short presentation, PowerPoint, 5 slides or 6 slides. I didn't count them actually, to be honest, but they're very, very short. What I would like to be, how did I come up with this idea about a triangle? Subtitling triangle is actually from literary criticism originally, in the 20th century, where they talk about the author, the world, and the audience, and the concepts of a work of art, any work of art. And that was the original idea where it comes from. I have made it into an article, a chapter in a book, 2009, but today is actually a modified version of Subtitling Triangle, which I will be presenting it to you. I've adjusted a few things in it, and I am hoping to do an article and represent the whole idea again. Not many people know about this article, and not many have actually even quoted that this chapter. Maybe because it was published in Italy, I don't know. Also, the book that I published was in Italy, first book that I published. Maybe PR there, I don't know. Now, let me just tell you how the plan of this evening is going to be. I have a PowerPoint. I have a clip, which I'm going to show you, very short, 3, 4, 5 seconds, 10 seconds max. And also I have some examples from the software itself. I'll show you the software and some little tips about the software, which is a professional software that I have. So it's going to be 3 parts. The first part is the PowerPoint. I'm trying to see if I can share with you the PowerPoint first. After I finish presenting, we will open a discussion, and you're welcome to ask me anything. If you want to ask me about audiovisual or any other area in interpreting, translation, stroke translation, because I've done that in various fields, whether it's in fashion, in pop video, in cinema, in tourism. That is for MBC for 10 years, where I had so many fields, including Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where I was actually overlooking, supervising all the questions with the examples, and I was changing all the options to George Kordahi and giving him all the information needed to comment on all the questions in that program at the time. So that's why I was using some questions from people who are writing the questions, and I was also disseminating the questions or organizing the questions, putting levels to the questions, and so on and so forth. We'll start now with the PowerPoint to start with, and then we'll move on to the clip and also to the example, and then we'll go to the discussion. Let me see if I can. We've actually gone through this, rehearsed how to share a screen, which I will try to see if it's going to work with me. Here we go. And I'm just going to, I hope that you are sharing it now.
Work, yes. Now we can see it.
Okay,
yes.
Brilliant. I'm going to now put it as full screen, so you can see everything there. Okay.
Yes.
Well, this is just details about myself. If you want to contact me, I am in UK usually in the summer. I am based in UK, in Kent, south of London, about 20 kilometers, 20 to 30 miles away from London. In the winter, I am in KSA, Saudi Arabia, teaching there. Now, here is the actual triangle, which consists of 3 points: audiovisual material, target language, and target audience. Can you see that, all of you? Am I sharing all right?
Crystal clear.
Brilliant, wonderful. Now, I am going to go through each side of the triangle and explain each one separately in a minute. First, the audiovisual material consists of 3 elements. These 3 elements are either having a text in vision, I'll explain that in a minute, or they will have sound,
Dr.
voice.
Khuddro,
can you see
apologies
that?
for the interruption. Could you, because there is a request, I know I can hear you clearly, but could you bring the mic closer to you if it is possible?
Like this? Yeah. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you quite well, but there is a comment. Okay. Can you please raise the voice?
Says admit. Well, somebody, okay, admit.
Yeah, I think it's okay now. Go ahead, please.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so as you can see from the triangle, there are 3 elements, which is audiovisual material, which is basically the video that you get. And the video is divided into 3 elements within that audiovisual material. And the 3 elements are text, sound or voice, and image. These are the 3 elements under audiovisual. And all these 3, you need to be aware of them as a subtitler, because they complement each other. The text complements the sound and the voice, and they do also complement the image. The second element is TL, which is target language, or the TT if you like. And this one also is split into 3 elements, and which are timing, space on the screen, and style, the style of the language that you need to be using. Then there is the third element, which is, or the third point as main points. We can call them supermens, if you like, which is the TA. TA is the target audience. And under target audience, there are 3 elements, which is area, age and gender, and I can't see the third one because there's an image of a lady here, so I don't know.
Is knowledge.
It's knowledge. Thank you very much. It's the world knowledge. It's the knowledge that you need to be aware of, which is the cognitive factor that also you need to be aware of it in interpreting as well, knowledge as well as the linguistic factor. So these are the three main ones, under which there are three subcategories, which I will explain in the next slide. We'll go through them one by one. Now, the first one is the audiovisual material. In the audiovisual material, there are three elements, as I said earlier, which is the image, and then there is the text, and there is also the sound and voice. Under the image, of course, there are two types of images. Will be either still image, which means it's not moving image, or moving image, okay? And of course, these will affect somehow the viewer who's watching, okay? And therefore, if it's a still image, it depends on what kind of text that might actually disrupt the image or not disrupt the image, or actually can, you'll be confused to whether you can see the subtitle while the image is moving, or why the image is still not moving at all. And the image can be black and white, as in films that are black and white, and that requires certain technical elements in subtitling which you need to be aware of. For example, the color white, you cannot use subtitles that are white when you have the black and white film. You have to have yellow wraps. This is one of the ones that are used. Or you can have a drop shadow, what's called drop shadow, which means that the words will have blackness around them. Or it can be an image which is in color. And therefore also, if it's in color, depends on the actual subtitling file. If it is for the deaf and hard of hearing, then you might have to change the colors of the subtitles according to different characters. Each character will have a different color. So the main character will have yellow or white, and then yellow, then blue, and so on. All of them light colors. So that's the image, which affects, as a factor, one of the factors. Of course, the image also can help in what's called diacritics, or pointing words like this and that and here and there and I and we and so on, because it will affect the you as well. If it's two people, dual or plural you, anta, anti, antuma, antunna, antum, which one? That is related also the image. The image can help the subtitler. And it's one of the elements which also Jorge Diacentis, a colleague of mine in subtitling, he does Spanish. He does mention the fact that subtitling requires not only the text, but also the image and the sound that actually complements the image. And many of the scholars are actually talking about that as well. So that's the image. We move on to the sound. And I can't see all these boxes under the sound, but there is sound and voice. And the difference between them, anybody knows the difference between sound and voice?
Yeah, to you, dear participants, it's a question. Who would like to answer? Difference between sound and voice.
Yes.
Floor is yours.
May I speak?
Ayman, yes, go ahead.
Yes. So when it comes to voice, it's when people speak. It's the dialogues, the interactions between the characters in the movie or in the film. And concerning the sound, the sounds are like humming, the music, something that breaks. These are like, they're not speech, but they convey certain elements of information.
Excellent. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. Well done, Ayman. Now, sound is for non-human, basically, and voice is for humans. So that's the difference between them. There are some boxes under them which I can't see because of your images there. One of them is, I don't know what they are saying, but one of them is sound effects, SFX.
Yes, and natural sound
natural
effects.
Sound. Okay,
yeah.
Sound effects and natural sound.
Yeah, example,
And
footsteps and glass breaking.
Glass breaking, okay. Now, natural sound, anybody knows what natural sound is?
Yes.
In cinemas and
natural sounds in cinema.
In production.
Duha?
Anybody?
So I'm guessing it's like a forest, the wind, rain, storm, things like this.
Wonderful. Yes.
Thank you.
It is actually the twittering of the birds, the sound of the trees, a car passing by, anything that is, or even, well, it can be natural, or the graphics or sound effects, which are not real, but actually created by a computer as well. But you can also think of the airplane passing, a car passing. All of these are natural sounds when you are recording a video. They will be added to other sounds like music, background music. That's another track which you put in. I remember that when we were doing it was 7 June. What's her name? Arafa. Amal Arafa. We did 16 tracks on her TV program that we were producing. One of them is actually called Natural Sound, the sound of the wind, as you said, and that. Then there's, of course, the graphics, not the graphics, the sound effects, which are like a glass breaking and other effects that you will think of, like hitting something, like hitting the wall or whatever, glass breaking, whatever it is, that's to do with that. We need to be aware of these. Why do we need to know? Be aware of them? Because when we are doing sound, when we're doing deaf and hard of hearing, we need to tell them that there is a sound there, there's some noise there, a baby crying, for example, or a door slamming, or the bell ringing, telephone was ringing, or door being slammed, and so on. Footsteps, if there are footsteps. So you need to do that in sound SDH, what's called SDH. SDH, subtitling for the deaf and hard of hearing. It's called SDH. Now we move on to, of course, in the voice as well, there are, of course, narration. And there's also another one which I can't actually see from here very well, the other box, or is it just two boxes from the under these images? Moving to the other side, which is the text. Now the text here can be either written on the screen, as in the case of a road sign, for example. You might have a road sign, or the name of a cinema, or the name of a shop, boutique, or a road sign. So these are texts in vision. They appear in front of you. Charlie Chaplin, if you remember these silent movies, they used to have what's called intertext. In other words, text between the images, which is the dialogue itself. They used to do that. That is also called text in vision. There's also a text which is called caption or supers, which are the name of the person and what they do. For example, you might say Dr. Salhi, and then you just write under that manager or of the program or director of. So that is the name and the title under it. That's called caption or super. And these are usually written on the screen. And they are problematic because you need to translate them, and you need to subtitle them, and you need also to subtitle what the person is saying. So there's a double job, two jobs. A job of what the person is saying and a job of subtitling the text in vision. So there's two elements there. That's why you need to move it up and down and the positioning of the subtitle is affected due to this element here. Finally, which is the most important part of the audiovisual, is the actual text, which is being said by an actor or actress, and that's text taken from an audio, which is what the actor or actress are saying in vision or out of vision, in front of the camera or off camera. That's called on camera, off camera. Off camera means behind the camera. You can't see them. So you might have you might have two actors in another room talking. You can hear them, okay? Maybe their voice is important, or what they are talking about is important to the person who is in vision. So this is when you have some audio where the actress or actor are not in vision, are speaking out of vision. And there's also in vision, which is called SB, means sound bites. Sound bites, well known in production, in TV and cinema production. Sound bites. It means people who are talking in vision, talking heads, like myself and Ayman at the moment, and Dr. Sahi as well. We are now talking heads. I am one of the talking heads, speaking in vision, and that I am doing a sound bite at the moment. You can have it like in the zoo, you have the manager talking about the zoo, perhaps commenting. That's called a sound bite. Okay? There is also the third one, which is the narrator or the commentator, which is like in the Discovery channels. Like when you have like, you know, like النمس مثلا, you say في صحراء كالهاري في القارة الإفريقية ليس المكان الذي تربي فيه أولادك. So that is an out of vision voiceover. It's called voiceover, VO, voiceover, VO, voiceover, where you are speaking behind the screen. And I used to do a lot of recordings behind the screen for NBC in the 90s, all the 90s. That is called voiceover, where you will find the person speaking in a very soft, gentle, rhythmic, and very, very slow compared to the soundbite. Soundbite is much faster. All of these texts are audio, are spoken. They are not written. So you have to rely on your listening skills to hear the words. Now, of course, companies, they give you what these words are, i.e., they give you the original text. They give you the template. They give you what the actors are saying. Some companies don't. So it depends on the company. If it's a film, it's very likely they will give you the 300 pages for you to enjoy reading, which is, most of it is useless for you. You only need the subtitles of it, but you don't need that. You can just take the audiovisual material itself, listen to it, subtitle straight away, and say no problem at all. You don't need to worry about what the actors are saying. However, companies tend to actually tell you some of the difficult terms and expressions, because sometimes they use slang, sometimes they use colloquialism, which you don't know what they are, especially the Americanisms or the British, for example. What is a butty? Anybody knows what a butty is? Butty, B-U-T-T-Y. Butty, they call it butty in the north. Butty is, anybody know what a butty is, or butty? It is actually, believe it or not, is just only fried potatoes in a bun. It's the cheapest sandwich that you can come up with, that you can buy. It's called butty. But of course, the company will give you a comment box under the subtitle, which tells you what the butty is. It will say, in Northern England, it is a sandwich which consists of blah, blah, blah. Most of the difficult terms, or what can be considered difficult for non-native speakers of the original language, they will explain to you that. That's a luxury, not always the case in all companies, by the way. I'm talking about highly professional subtitling companies. With regards to songs, when you are subtitling songs, of course, if the song is relevant to the theme of the film, then you subtitle it. Usually companies tell you as condition of to subtitle the song if it is like it's a romantic song, let's say two people are dancing or whatever. And it's romantic, and the words in the song may be relevant to the topic, to the actual theme of that, and some companies do that. Like in the case of, what is it called? The whole new world. It's Aladdin and the 40 Thieves, or Lion King, or we have subtitled the songs. There's another one which is Jungle Book, Necessities of Life. All necessities. I can't remember. You repeat it many times when you are subtitling it. That's why I remember it. My memory is terrible. I don't remember things, but I just. So songs do actually get subtitled only if the companies do actually tell you to actually subtitle them. You don't subtitle them by yourself. After the audiovisual, we should have the TL. Before the TL, actually, let's go back to this. I've skipped this one here. Okay, well, this one is the SDH that I said to you about. When you have hard of hearing people, that you have words like door slammed. Can you see that? Or Fred cries. Fred cries, the poor guy is babysitting for the baby who's about 1 month or 2 months old, okay? He's not very happy. He stayed at home. It's a TV series. It's been there since the 60s, called EastEnders in the UK. There's audio description, which you describe everything that's been said in the. I just thought of sharing with you that information. Moving on to the TL, which is the second factor. I hope that I'm actually very slow. I need to move faster a bit. Target language also 3 points under target language. We've got timing, we've got style, and I'm just going to actually see what the third one is.
And space.
And space. Okay, great. Now, thank you. Under timing, here you have to know the video itself. Is it PAL or is it NTC? NTC is American style, American system, where it is 30 frames, 30 pictures in 1 second. You need to know that. If it is a video that is American, 30 frames in that, 30 pictures in 1 second. Whereas the PAL is 24. And therefore, that is very important to know, because based on that, you will know how long each subtitle is going to stay for on the screen. And you need to calculate that. There's also the pace and the tempo. If it's an action movie, it's going to be much faster than if it is a Discovery Channel. Very slow, very, okay. Shot change. Shot change is, for example, when two people are speaking in the living room, for example, and then it has moved to the street. Okay, so the dialogue, even though you can hear the dialogue, but it has moved to the street. You can hear the audio, but the vision has changed. That's called shot change. Usually, if it's 6 frames, 6 pictures, you're allowed to leave the subtitle for 6 pictures. Before you remove the subtitle. Duration, what's the minimum? The minimum, I would say, this is my rule of thumb, if you like, or my measurement, which is 1 second, 2 frames per word. 2 words, 1 second, 4 frames. 3 words, 1 second, 6 frames. So you add 2 frames only. The 1 second is for the eye to capture the subtitle, to get the subtitle. And the 2 frames is for the words to read. Now that is really just to give you a guide, okay? It can vary. And the maximum is 6 seconds. 6 seconds is like a lifetime in subtitling, 6 seconds. 7 seconds, this is extreme, too extreme. 6 seconds for discovery. But it will be 3 seconds, 3.5 seconds for action movie. You will not see a subtitle staying for more than 3 seconds, 3 to 4 seconds. You wouldn't have it for 6 seconds unless it's a discovery channel, a narrator, which is what's called voiceover. Moving to the next one, which is style. You've got technical parts which you need to worry about: the font, the size of the font, the color, the conversions from metric to imperial, and the other way around. Like for example, if you say a boy or a baby fell 30 feet and survived, 30 feet and survived. Anybody knows how far is that down from a building? 30 feet. As Arab audience, they would not have the concept in their heads as to what it is. It's actually 10 meters or around 10 meters, which is quite high. So there's a concept of understanding how much. So, and also miles, okay, and feet as well. How many feet is this room, for example? So you need to convert it to the Arab audience into metrics, metric measurement, and for the European, especially the imperial measurements for UK in particular, they like miles, and also when you're talking about nautical miles, الملاحية, الأميال البحرية, which is a little bit different. Orphans and widows is not to leave a word at the end of the subtitle which is linked to the next subtitle. يعني مثلا, let's say for example the word which. You don't say which and you leave it in the first subtitle, okay? And in the second subtitle you say which, you say can be, which can be. So you don't leave which in one subtitle and can be in the second subtitle. You have to make the subtitles, or each subtitle stand on its own as a meaningful unit. It's well known in interpreting. Well, you know, with each subtitle can stand on its own almost, okay, as phrases that can stand on their own in each subtitle. It's almost like standalone subtitle, each one, unless you're doing discovery channel, where you can, but you don't link them. You don't say, for example, I'm going to, and then in the next subtitle you say school. You don't do that. It has to be, each subtitle needs to be almost standalone in itself. It's similar to pauses in interpreting, and similar to pauses, short pauses and long pauses in dubbing. And this is something which is a big field, which if you want, we can talk about at another time, about dubbing, subtitling, about sound bites and voiceovers and narration and commentary and so on. It's quite a lot of elements there. Now we move on to linguistic. Okay, whether the style register, you know, I'm sure most of you know what register is. Okay, informal, formal, slang, what kind of language is there? Usually the American style, they use very spoken, spoken, colloquial, but most of it in English. In Arabic, it's written in formal English, not an informal. Sometimes informal, especially if it's a song. يعني على دلعونة وعلى دلعونة بيكتبوها ع دلعونة. يعني they write it, they subtitle it. غنيها تدور الأغاني اللي طالعين هذول الجدد. لسه مدري مين هو الجماعة هذا. فanyway تلاقي اللبنانيز حاطين كل الكلام هذا in slang. Then you have also the linguistic. You have to be compact, you know, but not at the expense of clarity. Yani you have to be compact. You have to be shortening. What's called reduction. Sometimes I call it shortening. Other scholars, they call it reduction, where you reduce the text a little bit more, as in interpreting in a way. In interpreting, you do reduction, but reduction on a higher scale, where you're trying to make the meaning there, not the meaning, the sense there, more compact. Simple sentences, not too complex, not a lot of commas and full stops. Universal in terms of يعني كان عندنا مشكلة بالسبتايتلينج ready to be cook. يعني بنحط طماطم ولا بندورة، بنحط بعدنوس وبقدونس ولا بنحط كمثرى ولا إيجاز. يعني it was a huge problem of choosing even vegetables to translate vegetables for the program. because we were looking at the audience, and I'll talk about the audience in a minute. Consistency, you have to use the same word throughout. يعني مثلا كلمة subject, مثلا subject's rights, حقوق رعاية, حقوق المواطنين. يعني we carry on with the word حقوق مواطنين. We don't change it رعاية. إلا يعني if you are using رعاية, you have to go use the word رعاية throughout the whole film. So you have to be consistent, whether it is with the translation of certain terms, you carry on with the terms consistently. Express very fast. You have to be very fast. Okay. There's no intended mean. You can be, I mean, خاصة مع 007 في مشكلة pragmatics. Okay. Speech acts, يعني he always twists the sentences. There is hidden meaning behind every word that 007 speaks. If you watch the Royal, I think the Royal Hotel, is it 2015, or even the earlier ones, the old ones will be the same. Now on this side, the positioning, character numbers, how many letters are on the line, and the character numbers includes spaces, commas, full stops, question mark. If you are doing even tashkil, diacritical marks are also counted as characters. And we usually have 40 characters per line, 40 characters. Now, interestingly, in terms of breaking the text into phrases, the only two languages that match well with Scandinavian languages is Hebrew and Arabic. Yani the template we get from Scandinavian colleagues, subtitlers, fits well with us for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because of the language similar, or I don't know. But it seems to be their template works well with us, but it does not work well with Greek, Italian, Spanish, French, German, Polish, and many others, because we usually do the DVD in 34 languages. Like, for example, Pride and Prejudice, watch it. This is the one I worked on in 2005 production. It was done in various languages. So we usually take the same template, the English template, and it is distributed among all the languages, similar to relay, if you like, relay interpreting, where you have English one, and then everybody takes from the English and does other languages. So we do that. But it seems to be Hebrew and Arabic, because they are Semitic languages. They seem to fit in well with each other. In terms of character numbers per line, 40. Positioning in the middle, we usually put them all languages in the middle. Why? Because the European languages, they go to the left, the Arabic language to the right, and then, so we put them all in the middle, centered, bottom line, 2 lines in the bottom. Unless it's SDH, which is 3 lines or 4 lines subtitles. So we do only 2 lines. Now, only in Japanese and Chinese, where they go up, down, from the top to bottom, and that is something we cannot do. Even though some people do actually write the Arabic broken, يعني كلمة علم مثلا عين لام ميم تحت بعض. But that is only graphically pleasing, that's all. Positioning, as I said, in the middle, at the bottom, sometimes at the top. بيكون the mouth والlips, يعني مشان ما تيجي الكتابة فوق on top of the mouth of the character, we usually move it and raise it to the top of the screen for subtitling what they are saying. Or when there is caption, the name of the person and the title, we need to move it a little bit higher to move up the positioning of that. I don't know what, apart from character and position, what's the last one? I don't know. I can't see it from here. Last box.
Only lines.
Lines. Okay, how many lines? Now, how many lines? 2 lines, the normal subtitling. If you are subtitling, sometimes they do 6 lines, but each line in one language, and each one in different colors. That's sometimes happens. In SDH, they can do 4 lines, 5 lines, depends on how many characters are speaking at the same time. So, and then each character, different color. Okay, moving on to the last point here is the TA, which is the audience. This is very important. يعني مثلا أنا وقت كنت أعمل It's So Raven في فيلم الأفلام يعني young people. It's So Raven. I think some of you might know that one. Musical شو اسمها هاي high school musicals. Einstein, Little Einstein مثلا, or يعني these ones. Here you have your audience are different, are young people. So for example, the word schizophrenia, which means انفصام الشخصية, they play on it. They say schizophrenia. Oh, sir, oh, I didn't know this one. You know, they make a joke out of it because it's quite a complex term. So you need to know that the audience are children. That's age and gender. You need to be aware of that when you are subtitling for them. Also, you need the age and gender. If you are subtitling corporate video means like, for example, a hospital, they want you to subtitle a video, very short video for pregnant women, for example. They would say drink a lot of water when you come to do a scan, مثلا. يعني بنقول نترجمها اشربي وكلي يعني and so on for female. We're addressing female audience. So all the verbs needs to be in the female version because we are addressing that. So we need to be aware of our audience. If the audience are young children, so we have to make our language simple. The speed will be shorter. Yani the tempo of the speed, the reading speed will be 120 to 140 words per minute. We do not put it as 180 or 200 words per minute for young people because they cannot read fast compared to adults. Adults read fast, so from 180 to 200, sometimes 220. It's crazy. I don't like them. Sorry, I'm sorry to say that. South Korean pop مدري شو هذول pop groups اللي طالعين جدد هذول فيهم كتير very fast. They do speak very fast at times. I did some Suits is very fast. I did it once. Suits في لا بس يمكن شو اسمه هذا Grey's Anatomy is okay. يعني it's not fast. But I hate it because it's got some medical terminology which is very complicated. I had to search for it a lot. But anyway, so it depends on who am I addressing. Of course, in Grey's Anatomy, I'm addressing adults. So therefore, all my terminology in Arabic has to be as sophisticated and not as simple, because I'm not talking about addressing housewives the way I'm doing with Ready, Steady, Cook. In Ready, Steady, Cook, I have to choose different language for them. This is under age and gender. Under area, of course, it depends on who am I addressing. Am I addressing Arabs or Arabic-speaking readers? Okay, all over the world. Okay, if I need to know what kind. يعني مثلا مثل العربية والجزيرة, the language that is spoken by all the Arabs, which is understood by everybody all over the world, and that's what you need to choose. So you don't use language that is specific for certain area. مثلا يعني مثلا كلمة عافية أو عافي معناها نار، حجر معناها بطارية. أوكي بالمغرب. حوت معناها سمك. يعني أكلت حوت اليوم الصبح كل وقت. كنت أنا أروح على الترجمان وقت كنا حضرنا المؤتمر. Every morning they say, what did you eat? I said to them, I ate حوت. حوت يعني معناتها شي شغلة كبيرة في سوريا أو في لبنان. يعني معناتها huge, massive. وأنا ماني أصلاً جاي على مؤتمر وأكل حوت يعني معناتها I can't move even. But it seems to be that حوت is very small. So you see, that is the local language there. مثلاً برشا maybe, or يعني you are using local language for the country, the community that you're addressing. If you're doing a video for a community like in UK who are Yemenis or whatever, you need to gear it to, or direct it towards that in choice of language. So the target audience is my worry here. Regional إذا كان من الميدل إيست والمن الجلف مثلا ريال رجال في بعض الناس بيقولوا ريال يعني رجال لكن ببعض اللهجات. It depends on if it's Gulf. In North Africa كمان في in Europe in US. Of course, I know Gambia, he's a well-known scholar in audiovisual. He hates Anglicism all the time. He is always commenting on Anglicism in his in the Scandinavian languages, that it's been imported in as a loan word, being subtitling loan words from English, from American, and he hates that. So, I mean, that is another kind of choice of, if you're doing it into English, you have to worry about the American spelling, English spelling, and also a choice of words, flat or apartment, you have sidewalk or pavement, purse, and what is wallet and purse. في شغلات كثيرة مختلفة بين اللغات بين الأمريكان والبريتش and so on. Education, who am I talking to? People who are literate, just only know, or highly educated, yani university. If I am subtitling a video for nurses and doctors, like COVID-19 now, and I have to use all these complicated terminology they use, okay, الجائحة and so on, okay, education-wise. I don't know what the last box is. Maybe Dr. Salhi or can tell me what the last box is. I don't know.
I can read. Yes, it's culture and tradition.
Cultural tradition, yes.
Yeah.
Also, you need to know about, well, this is everybody knows all this. I'm just gonna, it's taking much longer than I thought.
Yeah.
I am gonna go, I mean, now I have to show you something. I'm just a different, like a film or something to entertain you a little bit. Can you, I'm just gonna stop there. I'm just gonna go and share again. Now I'm gonna share with you this clip, very short clip. This subtitling software, it's called WinCaps, okay? It's a well-known one. Sys Media does that, and many others. I like it only for Walt Disney. It's really beautiful because it has got an area which you can open, as you can see here. It's only for the text, where I can see the text and I can move up and down the text as I please. And there are lots of important information there. There are lots of writing there. You can see here in red, 247, which means word per minute. So that's quite high. That's why it's telling me it's too many words in that line. In another line, this is 16 characters in this line, the first line. In the second line, 27 characters. Can you see the numbers? I know it's quite small, but I hope that you can see.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. And you can see here, here you have 1 second, 21 frames, which is the duration of this first subtitle, the duration of it, which is what I have actually put in as such. The second one, the duration is in the middle, which is 1 second. And the third one is 3 seconds, 19 frames. And this video is a PAL video, which means it's 24 frames in 1 second. So you see it goes up to 24 and then changes. Can you see these numbers going up and down?
Yeah.
And it goes down, and now it's going within the limit. When it's changing, it goes above limit, and that's what it's happening there. This is 3 seconds, 1 frame, and this is the last one, is 1 second, 5 frames. Well, this is, and then you can check it and you can put it in 2 lines. This software tells you the number of characters. Now let's have a look at the video itself. This is the video. I'll show you what I have done in this video, very short, due to time actually. So here, I'm just gonna make you hear what she's saying. Here we go.
Okay. And today,
1 second.
we're doing
1 second. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to the top.
French-inspired white wine chicken. Now don't freak out, you'll have all the ingredients in your cupboard. It's super easy and fall off the bone delicious. So let's get started.
Okay, let me just go back to the top. See, very short.
Hi, welcome to Everyday Dishes. I'm Cheryl Najafi, and today we're doing a French-inspired white wine chicken. Now don't freak out, you'll have all the ingredients in your cupboard. It's super easy and fall off the bone delicious. So let's get started.
Okay. This one is how many seconds? It's actually very, very, very short, right? 10 seconds or 15 seconds. But guess what? Let me just go back to my audio here. Guess what? Even though it's 10 seconds, 45 seconds takes 2 hours to do. 45 seconds, 2 hours to do. From scratch, from zero, from no timing, nothing. I did the timing, I did the lines, and also adjustments and all that stuff there. I'm going to, I'm going to actually stop sharing. I hope that, let me see if I can stop sharing. Now, stop sharing, here we go. Okay. Now, in terms of the PowerPoint, I'm going to actually then, there's only one subtitle left in it, but you can't see it, so you need to share it again. Okay, and here we go. Here we go. This one, can you see it? This is what we have done. We have been working on. It's frozen, which is good, because that means I can stop talking. Let me just know how to, I don't know where my mouse has gone. I think it's eating some cheese somewhere. That's why I can't see it. Where is it gone? It's not responding anymore because of this. I'm sorry about this. I don't know what happened. Everything's frozen. Give me do 1 second. Here, I just see if it's gonna work. Yes, it's working. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay. Well, I'm gonna stop here because I think even though I have to talk about characters and blah blah, there's so much to talk about. Okay. As you've seen, just to summarize, we looked at 3 different triangles within one triangle. The first triangle, which is the target audience, the target language, and the audiovisual material. Under each one, there are 3 triangles there, which you have seen, and I showed you a little bit of a demonstration. I had another one, but due to time limits, and I've already taken 1 hour, and I promised Dr. Salhi, I'm really sorry. I thought
No
it's 20 minutes,
at
and it
all.
took me like hundreds of hours.
No problem at all, Dr. Khuddro. It is really very pleasing to listen to you, and I can see in your comments that some people commented that your voice and not sound is very familiar to them.
So
yes, this is one of the comments.
Doctor, listen to this.
Yeah.
النشرة المالي والأعمال برعاية البنك السعودي الأمريكي.
This is your voice then.
And then there is another one. النشرة الجوية بالتعاون مع مجموعة أجواء للصناعة الغذائية وزاهي الزيت النباتي المطور لجميع أغراض القلب وروزانا الرز الأمريكي الذهبي ذو الحبة الطويلة ونفيس زيت الذرة الطبيعي.
Perfect. So this is another evidence that your
that is for dubbing.
Voice for dubbing, yes. Perhaps another
dubbing.
Presentation on dubbing.
Sure.
Excellent.
Welcome
so,
to
thank you very much for this insightful, this a little bit technical presentation, despite the fact that it is still sharing some basic knowledge about subtitling. I know this is the tip of the iceberg, and there is still much to say, to investigate about audiovisual translation and subtitling in particular, and the complexities are enormous. The complexities are not only technical related to the relationship between the user and the subtitler and the machine or the software, but also, as you mentioned and highlighted, some issues are cultural, of a cultural nature, how to translate a particular jargon, how to translate a particular culture-specific term or word, in addition to some other issues related to compacting your language to express many things with little number of characters. Yeah, in addition to other things related to form, because the form all of a sudden appears to have a weight in meaning, like the font, the size, the character, the color. We are sharing some messages through those let's say elements of related to form rather than to content. In addition to so you described this in a triangle, and you made the triangle to split into 3 other triangles. I would like to congratulate you on that, commend you for the structure that you have made to describe that knowledge and to make people understand them better, despite that they are technical and perhaps too many details and too much information on that. So I have met with someone who is from the United States coming to Tunisia. We went to an assignment in the south, and I found that the gentleman is really genius. Everything he has a say about it, and he talks about any subject you raise. He really is present there to discuss it with you with ample knowledge, not just shallow or superficial knowledge.
That's what we made. That's what we did with George Kordahi. We made him look as if he knows everything in geography, in films, in sports, and he appeared to know. I mean, he only knows about politics and nothing else. He's zero in everything else. But he appeared to be a genius in even religious matters. As well. Yes, go.
True. Yeah. So yeah, it's and he told me that he worked as a banker, he worked as an engineer, and he had also another background in literature. So he says, my mind works, I split it into 3. So the 3 is a sacred number in Christianity, but also in the mind. So, and in French, they say jamais 2 sans 3. Never 2 without 3, a third. So he told me that he has the mind of an engineer. I structure things like an architect. So you built a very good structure, and then the mind of a banker. So I need to have good estimates about things, the cost, and also humanity, the creative side of things, how the design, the preferences, and so on. So we really, I think in subtitling, you have to take care of all of these. You have to have a structure, not to repeat things. Strategy. You have to have a banker. What does this cost, even in terms of space? So space is a very rare resource, and you have to manage it fully. And make
even more in dubbing. Even you have to be more compact.
Of course, even in interpreting, sometimes it's you have to do good chunking and segmentation of the message. I agree, and also the design and the artistic side and the creative side, because we are human beings that would like to see a very beautiful image, like the graphics that go from like alam or ilm, etc. So all of these we have to take them into account because we are interpreters, subtitlers, translators, and human beings. So I open it up to you, ladies and gentlemen, to ask your questions, and I can see some hands shown already. Yes. I will take first Taqwa, Jandoubi, then Muhammad. How about Dr. Khuddro, if we take 4 or 5? I'm worried about time. Let let us take rounds of 4 or 5 questions.
It's up to you. It's up to you. I am free for.
Thank you very much. Taqwa Jandubi, and then Muhammad Salah Isa, then Ayman Tarhouni, then Yusra Gharbi, then Wisal Khlifi, then Dahad Matmati. We take this as a first round. Please, Taqwa, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Greetings, sir. Thank you for the very. The question is, when I started to subtitle a news video from Arabic to English, I've been confronted with very long sentences, and the app didn't allow for many characters in one subtitle shot. So that was the problem for me. And then I have a problem of structure. Since every language has its specificities, I didn't manage to had this speaker was talking, and I had another different subtitle. I give you a practical example if you allow me.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Thank you. Thank you very much for this.
Khuddro, is it possible to take them at once?
Sure,
all the questions?
take them all at once. No problem.
Yeah. Thank you. Muhammad Salah Isa.
I still have 2 other questions, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Sorry. Okay. My second question is about the punctuation. Do we punctuate the way we do in translated material? And the third question is actually is about صاحب الجلالة عهد البلاد المفضل. So صاحب الجلالة could be translated to His Majesty. How about عهد البلاد المفضل? Is it enough to say the beloved, or do we have to say something else?
صاحب الجلالة, and I didn't get the other one. What was the other one? العاهل المغربي. العاهل المغربي.
عاهل البلاد المفضل.
عاهل البلاد المفضل. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. Muhammad Salah.
Greetings, Professor, and thank you for the amazing lecture.
Thank you very much.
My questions are as follows. Should we describe the song being played, like saying it's a battle song, it's a gloomy song being played, or should we simply put the song title, or should we actually put the lyrics of the song if it's relevant to the plot of the movie? And also, is there
should we subtitle? Are you asking whether we subtitle the song?
Whether we add the title of the song, or whether we add the lyrics of the song, or whether we describe the song. Like that song, and so on. So my next question is there a difference when it comes to a song being played on the background and the song being sung by the actor?
Yes.
Okay.
My next question is related to Netflix. And I've been watching a series called Sabrina, and I stumbled upon this sentence: the apple never falls far from the tree. And the translator used this sentence: لا تقع التفاحة أبدا بعيدة عن الشجرة. Do you think the translator should have translated it into something more familiar to the target language culture?
Yes.
For instance, let's say ذاك الشبل من ذاك الأسد.
Yes.
And by this question, I mean, do you recommend us to have Netflix series as a reference for self-practice, learning, and correction?
Thank you.
I still go to
so I think three questions are enough for you. So jamais 2 sur 3. Let's stop at the 3. Let's move on to Ayman.
Okay. This is 3 questions here.
If there is time, I will
sure. Yeah.
Thank you, Ayman. Go ahead.
Thank you for the lecture. It was really important, all of what you said. So I've got a few questions of my own.
Sure.
So, you mentioned that there are 2 types of speeches, on and off camera. So in what way does that affect the subtitles, on or off camera speech? The second question is that you mentioned another rule of yours, I think it is, a 2 frames per second rule. Is that it?
Above 1 second.
Okay, so is that a rule that you came up with, or someone else did? If so, who is it?
No. Yes. Okay.
Good. Ayman, go ahead. You have a third chance. Yes.
So the other question is, the norm for English and languages that use Roman letters is to use about 37 characters per one line.
Yes.
Is that the same? Does the same rule apply to Arabic, or is it different?
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Yusra
Thank you very
Gharbi.
much.
Hi, Mr. Ahmed.
Hi.
Thank you for your insightful.
You know, thank you very much. Are you a friend of
Gharbi.
Hafiz Gharbi, or is that a different, just a different family? All right, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Yes, sir.
So I want to thank you for your insightful presentation.
You're most welcome.
I really enjoyed it. My question is rather a general one. So what kind of problems does the translator of audiovisual material face, and how he can resolve them?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wisal?
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Ahmed.
Hi, Wisal.
Okay, so early on while working on subtitling videos, I was confused about two things. So, translating from Arabic to English, there's the term الكاميرا الخفية. I translated it with the following: pranking كذا with كذا. Depending on my context, pranking. I opted for the term prank.
Oh, pranks. Yes, I know what you mean now. Pranking, yes. Pranks, yes. Pranks, yes. So you want to know what is the equivalent of prank, or what? What you're talking about pranking?
I wanted to translate الكاميرا الخفية.
Yes.
But of translating it using prank. PR.
I know what that is. Yes. Instead of that, candid camera. Candid camera. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
But I wasn't convinced. So how do I translate that? And there was Assalamu alaikum. So from Arabic to English.
Yes.
Translated peace be upon you, or just hi, or just depending on the context, whether it's religious or not.
Yes.
Thank you
so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Dad?
Yes.
Dad, Matmati?
Good evening. Thank you very much,
evening.
Dr. Ahmed, for being with us today.
You're most welcome.
I have subtitled a video of 19 minutes from Arabic into English, and it took me more than 2 weeks. It is really a hard job, stressing and exhausting, especially that Arabs, they have always the problem with unfinished sentences, repetition, switching from one idea to another without finishing the first one, then come back to it. And I think that translating an interview is much harder than a movie or a song or something like that. So my question is, how can we deal with such problems? Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. We are going to take two more questions.
Sure.
Duha Mabruk and then Ula, at least in this round. Yes, Duha.
Okay.
First.
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for being here. My question is, when you're in a historical movie, for example, something about Omar ibn Khattab or Sayyidina Yusuf or something like that.
Yes.
That era and used, for example, mines and weapons that didn't exist.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ola.
Yes. Thank you, sir, and thank you for your own time. This is Ala. I'm not working in the field of subtitling, but it's a really important field that I would like to be in it. So I'll ask some question. Let it be one. Is it hard kind of profession that I would take? Does it take more than more effort and more time? Does it take that or requires to work only in it as a kind of profession, not a paid-side job?
Good. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Over to you, Dr. Khuddro.
All right. Thank you very much.
I know there are so many questions asked.
Very interesting.
Yeah, they are interesting questions. I agree. And this is a very good sign, by the way.
Okay, let me just remember the names, because taqwa is the first one, right? Taqwa.
Yeah, I think.
She mentioned something about the structure between English and Arabic. She was translating a news item, and she's asking about punctuation and also about the title of the person, if I got it right. Now, in terms of English into Arabic, I would advise, I mean, depends on you as what are you confident in more. In other words, if you are more confident into English than into Arabic, then I would say subtitle into English. Now, when you are subtitling into English, you need to use the functional translation most. Not only for that one, but also in Arabic, you use more functional than formal translation. Functional and shortening, reduction, being compact, being reducing the amount of text, you shrink it as much as possible. Now, when you shrink it, it's very easy to actually subtitle. You need to be aware of this, that when you are subtitling, you don't need to subtitle every single word verbatim. That's not how it works. Because you need to be aware that you have to get rid of 3 or 4 frames in between subtitles as a gap. So you have to have a gap in between each subtitle and the next, so that the eye can see there is another subtitle appearing and disappearing. Okay? Usually they do either 1 frame, 2 frames, 3 frames, 4 frames maximum is what's called frame break between 2 subtitles. So this takes away the time of the video for you, or the duration of the subtitle. So because of that, you need to shrink or make it more compact, but clarity is absolutely essential. So you do not say, I want to make it very short, because that's what it says in English. You need to put English aside and think of Arabic. Read the Arabic subtitle as Arabic for somebody who doesn't understand English at all. Okay, does it follow throughout the sequence? You know, that's how you need to be doing. You're not doing verbatim at all. And that's why when you're doing the structure, of course, subject-verb agreement, that is something, you follow the structure of the English, of course, because you're doing it into English. So you respect the English language. You don't respect the source language, grammar and syntax. You respect the target language. Sometimes you might have to do, you might have to switch the conditional sentence, maybe if it works better in Arabic or in English, then why not? You can do that. You can do the shifting. Shifts in translation is fine in subtitling, but it's better. The problem is you are exposed. Your back is exposed as a subtitler. Everybody can hear the English or can hear the Arabic. They would say, "Oh, they said something, you didn't translate it." But they don't know that you are limited with the time limit, duration. That is essential. You have to make sure that you have to leave some time for the person to watch the image, because you're not reading a text. It's not a book. It's not a novel you're reading here. You're not sitting there at the screen just reading what the script is saying. No, you have to leave some time for the eye, for the viewer, to enjoy the film, to enjoy so that's why in Discovery, I usually trail the subtitle. I leave the subtitle longer, a little bit at the end, not at the beginning. At the beginning, I go sharply on the very first sound of the word. As soon as it's said, as soon as he says "I," before he says there, I start the subtitle. But when I finish, I can trail it a little bit. I can extend it slightly there at the end in Discovery channels, because here you're using it in a very rhythmic, like the waves, the gentle waves of the sea when there is a breeze, nice breeze, not when it's very high seas. No, you're doing that in Discovery. So that's so that you are free with the structure in English. You are worried about what the English are saying. you need to put the message across to the English people about what the news item is saying. Don't worry about the Arabic. Don't to be, as John Donne has said, fettered. You know, your feet are, you're not walking on a tightrope with your feet fettered when you are translating. No, you have to be a little bit relaxed. You have to move, as it were. You have a track of a train, and within that track, you can move, you can dance, you can do it as long as you are giving the same message. Short message, compact. Instead of أيضا و, instead of في بعض الأحيان, في غالب الأحيان, أحيانا. So I just think of a word shorter, maybe less syllables, maybe similar to what you do when you are, you know, if you see what Chernov is talking about, shortening, syllabic shortening in interpreting, choose shorter words and that. So you need to do that, split personality instead of schizophrenia, for example. Schizophrenia is a very long, so many letters in it, okay? Maybe, so that's for structure. Punctuation, you avoid them because you need character numbers. And this, I will answer that the same as the other one. Character numbers between 35 and 37, sometimes up to 39 in European languages. They use that, but in English, in Arabic, we use it either open, what's called open. In other words, you put all the characters in the world you have, which is 42. 42 is the Arabic one. Now, 42 does not mean 42 characters are on the screen, but because the Arabic language, the letters are quite big, they take space on the screen more than the English ones. And therefore, even though it's 42, but when you count them, they're not 42 characters. In fact, they're less, much less than that in Arabic. But they take longer space on there, and that's why punctuations is to be avoided, except when it's a question mark, sometimes, and sometimes when it's an exclamation mark. I avoid commas. I split the lines into two so that the comma will be implied in the first line as opposed to second line. So you can use a comma, full stop, no need. Shukran, there is no need full stop. Naam, full stop. There is no need full stop. You can use dashes because two speakers are speaking so that you can indicate there are two people talking. So you can use dashes in there. صاحب الجلالة والبلاد المفردة. طبعا here you do here it's ideal for shortening. Ideal because you can just say His Majesty. That's it. عاهل البلاد المفردة 3 words. 3 words. عاهل one. عاهل how many letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, space 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 words. عاهل البلاد المفردة. 18 letters, 18 characters. Too long, too many. Okay. مثلا بنقول مثل ما بنقول مثلا ياسر عرفات رئيس منظمة التحرير الفلسطينية. We don't need to say رئيس منظمة التحرير الفلسطينية in Arabic. We don't need to say that. We can just only say Arafat without even Yasser. Even though in Arabic he's saying Yasser Arafat, we can say Arafat. Okay, and then we say Arafat قام ب, or instead of Arafat we say رئيس التحرير, رئيس المنظمة, Arafat, رئيس المنظمة if you want, just in order to shorten a bit more. So you try to. This is ideal for shortening. صاحب الجلالة, of course, in Arabic, if you are translating to Arabic, here it's the target audience. Who is my target audience? Is it صاحب الجلالة my target audience? أنا بتذكر مرة I was actually presenting a news. I was in المستقلة for 5-6 weeks. فأنا عملت cut and paste, جبت من النيوز في وايرز واي كت اند بيست ومكتوب سمو الامير سمو الامير الملكي مدري شو هاي. قال لي ايه نزل نو جست الامير بدون لا سمو ولا الملكي ولا يعني. Why? Because we are trying to shorten. Muhammad.
Sorry, before you move on to the next question, here I would like to ask you about acronyms and abbreviations, especially acronyms that are very well known in one culture, especially English.
Yes.
And it is really hard, even in interpreting, sometimes it's challenging because you have a space challenge. How would you do it in subtitling? And your viewer is not knowledgeable of. So how
now
to do the shortening or the compact version of that?
Yeah, that's easy. What you need to do, of course, let's say it's called SC, the SC, مجلس الأمن. Okay, مجلس الأمن التابع للأمم المتحدة. يعني مثلا maybe they said UN SC مثلا. يعني or even SC without even UN. You can when you start the first time you use مجلس الأمن, and then later on you just say مجلس المجلس 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 throughout. And keep to the word majlis throughout, and whoever is reading in subtitles knows that you are speaking about al-majlis. That's the only one.
This is one case. But
الوكالة الدولية للطاقة الذرية مثلا.
Yes.
Okay. IAEA الوكالة الدولية للطاقة الذرية. Then you just say الوكالة.
But if it occurs only once, and the organization is not well known, like the Atomic Energy Agency, like Effat, for example, International Fund for Agricultural Development. So people barely, and it occurs only once, and you have really a problem of space at that time.
Yes. Well, in this case, you just only say منظمة الزراعة الدولية. يعني you have to make it shorter. Especially if he is talking about UN anyway. فمنظمة الزراعة مثلا, you have to adopt one term, the shortest, and then you go for it throughout. Okay, but you have to calculate the number of characters. This is absolutely essential. Syllables, shortening at the level of syllables, even not even at the level of an acronym, a long acronym. Or you can, sometimes, especially in documentaries, they tend to use it, you can use it only first time in full and then shortening throughout.
When it is recurrent, yes.
But you need to adopt one as short as possible of that one. Yani UNESCO, you don't need to say the full version of the word UNESCO and then carry on with the word UNESCO itself. I know you are using here loan word or an Arabization, as some people call it, or transliteration, if you like. But everybody but you need to be aware you are not actually subtitling for those who are bilinguals. Okay, you're not. You're the target audience. Again, I'm going back to the target audience. You are educating them. Depends on the purpose of the actual speech. Is it to inform or to persuade? In most cases, it's to persuade, unless you're talking about Discovery Channel, where it is just to entertain and inform and not to persuade, unless there's a persuade element there. We're talking about translation in general. All of these, I didn't speak about the purpose of the translation or the purpose of the video. Is it to inform? For example, there are videos that are for those who don't speak English, for example, when they arrive in airports in UK. So they have videos for them. We need to know who we are targeting. We're targeting people who are not familiar what UK is about, and we're telling them a message. We have to give them that message. And it is very important for them to understand the message. And I'm talking about sense, not meaning of word, but sense. Sense to mean the linguistic part plus the knowledge, which is fundamental, cognitive factor in there, and sometimes pragmatic. You might have to do. You might have to give a translation shift if need be. If need be, do a translation shift. You don't have to put a nominal phrase. You can do a prepositional phrase if it's shorter. If it is a long verbal sentence, you make it a nominal sentence, if need be. Yeah, I mean, the shift here is only to make it shorter, for the purpose of shortening. That's
but Dr. Khuddro, don't you agree with me? And here also, I can see another comment made by Professor Al-Farahati saying that we have to be very cautious about shortening or condensing names, because sometimes this may create some political issues or some understanding challenges. Let me give you an example. If you are translating for the United Nations, official names of countries are of paramount importance.
Of course.
So instead of saying Iran, you have to mention the full official name, the Islamic Republic of Iran. Yes. So here you have to strike a balance between the shortening strategy, and also because this is part of meaning, the full name is also sending a signal that we recognize it as an Islamic Republic of Iran.
Let me say something here.
Or political issues like Yasser Arafat, for example, and you say shortly Arafat, perhaps there will be some meaning loss.
Meaning loss, of course. But you see, the idea here is when you are doing subtitling, is either you cram as novice subtitlers or new subtitlers do, they cram the whole screen with a lot of text, which is when you run the text, when you run the video, nobody will read the text. Nobody can read the text. In other words, it's just running like endless, very fast, and nobody can actually understand what's going on. Now, I'm going to go back to Farhati because you're talking about legal translation, and I'm actually teaching at the moment in this summer legal translation and international legal law. Now, in one of my articles about in 2016, I have mentioned this. In subtitling, there are can be 3-4 different types of text types: legal, medical, okay, and conversational. So the 3 different texts are being used. I remember what's his name. Okay, The Rain Man, the film called The Rain Man, where you have the medical doctor who's talking about his brother who is autistic, who's got medical problem, and he's explaining to him in medical terms what is that case in particular. So that is one text, which is medical text full of terminology, which as a subtitler you have to manage that, you have to deliver it as is, as much as possible. There is also the legal side of it, because when his father died, the autistic brother inherited everything, and the one who is smart and he likes cars and women, women, he likes to enjoy himself. He is left with no inheritance. So he went to the lawyer, and the lawyer used all legal words, and he says, "Look, my fucking hearing. Sorry, I'm sorry to say this. I can't hear my ear. What are you saying, lawyer?" And the lawyer was using certain terminology that is very legal language, which needs to be subtitled in full, because that is legal translation, legal text, which requires a specific terminology to be used. When he says may, يجوز، ما بنصير ترجمها بغير يجوز أو لا يجوز كلمة may. ما بنقول ربما ومن الممكن ومن المحتمل. Then we are talking about legal. Shall will not be translated سوف. It has to be translated يلتزم أو يدفع. يعني the tenant shall pay, okay, or pays. Shall pay معناها يدفع، يعني مترجمة يدفع، ما مترجمة سوف يدفع. And here we have gained something, because we're not translating the word shall for start. But there are areas where you have to be sticking to what they are saying. يعني each and every ترجمها كلها هي بالlegal. Okay, each and every by and between بين الطرفين. So by and between two words, by and between three words, بين one word. وفي كمان assumption, by the way, إنه when we translate into another language, the amount of words is doubled, or maybe 4 to 6. Not necessarily. مثلا ممكن تقول استفهمت منه. 2 words بالعربي. استفهمت منه. How many?
Excuse me, Dr. Khuddro. Here there are techniques sometimes. Perhaps I call the gained loss and the lost gain, because what you gain in one spot you will lose it later, because
true.
Yeah, so but you are bound to a specific space in a way, so you have to manage it in that space. It is space per se.
But Farhad is talking about a contract. Contract is a written document. It's not a video. Okay, you don't see a video which is showing you a contract, for example. So yes, you do stick to the language, the legal language, yes. In a film, there are certain parts which are legal text type. There are certain parts which are medical. There are certain parts that are in music, in fashion, in medicine. These texts need to be translated as they are, because they are the text type has changed. Okay, from spoken, from dialogue, normal dialogue. People are in their bedroom fighting, or chatting or romancing or whatever. Or then you have another shot of 2 people arguing in a court. Okay, like for example, Judge Judy. Judge Judy talks in legal, but if you translate them, in legal, but it's not condensed so much. I mean, the legal itself it's a spoken legal. It's not written as much, even though they're reading, but they don't read it as compact as when you are reading a contract. So yes, in a contract, definitely you can't compact. It's a different kind of text type. I hope that, Doctor, I have explained. So that's the problem with subtitling, that you are encountering different types, different discourses in your film, or in your. For example, I did how to commit the perfect murder. Okay, how to commit the perfect murder, which is a documentary where he was speaking about all these technical medical terms. How they killed the guy with a knife made of ice and so on. And it was all medical, but it's all spoken. And we need to be aware of the audiovisual. And with respect to Farhati, and I read her book, and I am teaching part of it as well other scholars' books. But in particular, the legal translation is related to printed on paper, okay? Documents like wakala, what's his name?
Power of attorney?
Power of attorney, thank you very much. Yes, these are all documents, okay? They will not appear, they might appear for seconds on the screen, and they will highlight one sentence from it, or in a film, or two sentences, and they comment on that. So it's not like as compact as in a contract, for example, that you're translating, or in a tenancy agreement that you are translating, where you have to be translating everything in there. يعني مثلا ممكن نعرف المأذون مين هو في الكونتراكت and the certificate agreement, marriage contract.
Dr. Khuddro, time is flies and
flies,
and yeah, we have almost 8 minutes left. Can you
Okay, I will do that very quickly.
Minutes, yes.
Sure. Muhammad Saleh, song title, lyrics, describing the song. Now, it depends on the context itself. If an actor is singing a song, if it is relevant to his beloved or whatever, or to the situation, political or non-political, then you subtitle. Usually the company itself will tell you whether you need to subtitle or not subtitle, but it's most of the time it is not to subtitle songs. Describing the song, sometimes in STH, you do describe what the song is about. You say a romantic song, you say a classic song, you say whatever song, or you can write the lyrics of it. If it is pop video, maybe you need to write the lyrics themselves. Moving to Netflix, which one? I did some of it, Netflix myself, via one of the companies. Now, in terms of Apple never fall from tree, I think this is the idiomatic language or non-idiomatic language, if you want to translate idiomatic or non-idiomatic. It's just a matter of what kind of procedure you follow. If you're following the procedure of, you can find an equivalence, as Verney and Darbonet says, an equivalence which is in the target language, similar to the source language. As you mentioned, you can have an equivalent which is similar to it, but not necessarily the same wording, because it's a completely different culture. You can do that as well. So it depends. I mean, it's the message, how you want to pass the message across, how you put the message across to the audience. It's up to you, so long as they get the message. That is what's after. It's. I think if you understand, the apple never falls far away from the tree. If it is understood in the translation, which I doubt because we don't use it in our culture, then that's fine. But I think it's better not to translate literal any idiomatic expressions, because they will not be any functional. Yeah, they will not serve their function. The translation will not serve its function. Netflix, which one's recommended? I think it depends on your interest. There are, I mean, it depends on if you want to go for TV series. I did Suits, I did some others. If you want to go for TV series, they are different because they have got summaries of each episode from the beginning of it and the end of it, which you need to actually correlate or connect with previous episodes, which is a bit of a pain at times, because you have to remember exact wording in another episode about 2, 3, 4 episodes back. like in Castaway and شو اسمه هذاك اللي كان قاعد بالايلاند قاعد في الايلاند لفتره. It's a big series.
Stranded Away.
Sorry?
Castaway.
Castaway is one, but there is another one. إنه قعدوا بالهي بالجزيرة. I forgot it. I did that some time back. So if you want to like TV series, it's up to you, but you need to follow the whole series. Or if you want to go for a film, you don't learn American English or English from films. You might learn some expressions, but it's spoken, not written. But it's up to you. You can always, whatever you enjoy doing, you have to enjoy it. I hate horror films, so I never actually subtitle horror films. No matter what they tell me, I don't. I usually speed the film. والصوت هذا كله بروح منه. إذا كان مثلا ER كانوا يشرحوا هذا. I don't look. I just go through it. The human body تبع الBBC وقت كان في birth كانوا مصورين البirth. I didn't look. It was painful. I move forward until I hear the audio. I hear the audio. It says thank you. I write thank you. I just move forward. So whatever you enjoy watching, please follow that up. Netflix, I'm not sure all of it is quality, but better than others. But I think you need to go for big studios because they do more better post-production work on subtitling. Ayman, off and on camera.
Could you provide us later on with a list of movies and series that you've subtitled so we can take it as a reference?
Yes, I have done. I don't have a record of it, unfortunately. But Pride and Prejudice, Pirates of the Caribbean. I corrected When in Rome, Perfect Storm, Cars, the film, Jungle Book, many of the, but I don't have a specific place because I was working for the different companies at the time. Off and on camera subtitles. Now, the off ones, off subtitles, this is for Ayman. If the dialogue is relevant, then you subtitle it. If it's not relevant to the theme, then you don't, if it's off camera. If it's on camera, in front of the camera, and somebody's speaking, it's better to do that, to subtitle what they are saying. More likely to be relevant. 1.02 frames, it is my calculations out of my own experience, but some companies go for 1 second, even though there's 2 words in it. They do as a minimum. Sometimes they go for 20 frames only, less than a second, and I don't agree with that. Some of them go for 18 seconds, 18 frames and 16 frames. I don't like that, and I don't agree, because you need to have the eye watching the screen and listening and looking at the subtitle. In terms of the Roman letters, as I said, it's 42 for English, for Arabic, and for Hebrew. And for European, 35, 37 it was, and some scholars say 39 as well. Yusra, problems with, I think you need to watch you read my book about problems, linguistic issues, many of them, spelling, mostly shortening because of reading speed, because you need to read within a certain duration, limited duration. So shortening is most important. Making sense of what you are subtitling, very, very important, making sense. There are many, put all the numbers in digits, not in written. يعني لا تكتبي كلمة ثلاثة رجال، اكتبي ثلاثة، كلمة رقم ثلاثة. الأرقام كلها اكتبيها رقما. بالنسبة للوصال Arabic English الكاميرا الخفية candid camera I thought maybe better. Branking I would say حركات خفية، حركات. ممكن تقولي حركات يعني ممكن, I don't know. السلام عليكم, peace be upon you. You can say hello. Hello is fine. Hello as formal, and assalamu alaikum is formal. So you're using the same one. It depends on the register here. You keep to, if he says assalamu alaikum, you can say hello. Now, if it is, however, you're talking about historical, as in Umar ibn Khattab, and assalamu alaikum, and then you might resort to that one. But there are two methods. Either go formal, too formal, يعني بلا وأجل, instead of the word نعم. But you don't, and in English you would say verily instead of indeed or actually, verily. But that is, you know, using the, trying to use a similar to Shakespeare's language sort of thing. I would say go for the modern, but not too classical, not too classical for historical movies, even though in Arabic they are, but you don't go very far ahead of them. مثلا أنا البارح اليوم كنت بدرس كتاب المقابلة الجبر والمقابلة, ترجموا the book of restoring and balancing in English. So they didn't say algebra, you know. One of the translators, he's called Lyon, Jonathan Lyons. He translated that way. So you don't have to stick exactly the same wording, so long as you put the message across. It's actually what is important. Do my audience understand? My audience are watching. I have to be worried about them. Do they understand what I'm doing or not? If they don't get the message, I'm sorry, I failed. No matter how good I am as a translator, and I have 35 years experience in translation, it doesn't matter. It goes through the wind, you know, it goes with the wind if my audience cannot understand what I'm saying. In written translation, in interpreting, or in subtitling, it's the same. Repetition and fragments, with regards to the 19 minutes that it took you 2 weeks to do, I'll tell you something. It will not take you 2 weeks if you watch the film video first, 19 minutes. You need to watch it first from beginning to end. You need to highlight only the difficult words from it, secondly. And you need to You can do the timing afterwards. You do the first, the text itself, but you shorten it as much as possible. Then you do the timing afterwards. It will not be a problem. If there are fragments, you keep fragments as they are. If there is repetition, you do repetition as it is. But you don't have to do the same repetition. يعني مثلا أحيانا يقولوا no, 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 no. You say it 7 times. You don't need to say it 7 times. Subtitle. You do it 3 times, and then put few dots. So you don't have to do the same as that. You repeat it once or twice. Repetition needs to be avoided unless the repetition has got a purpose behind it. Sometimes there is a purpose behind it. أنا بتذكر مرة عملت interpreting والله ما في غير 5 كلمات قالهم يعني يقول له بس بده 8000 هذاك يقول له 15000 8000 15000 for 20 minutes. And I said to him, you are repeating yourself. He said, I don't care. Say what I am interpreting. Yani I was interpreting, I was repeating it. I was paid for it. So why not? I will repeat it as, if you want it 100 times, I will repeat it 100 times. So repetition is important, but not excessive. I mean, avoid excess, like the Greeks say, avoid excess. So do not exceed excessive in that. So with regards to interview or movie or song, which one is better? Well, I would say if you're interpreting, if it's an interview, it's better. I can tell you that. But if it is a speech, be prepared. It's God be with you. May God be with you, because prepared speech will be very compact and the chunking will be hell. But in movies, movies are very little text and get paid well, which is great. Songs also do that. But songs are the hardest to actually subtitle. I think more effort, time, profession. Okay, you want to go for a profession of subtitling, I'll tell you something. It's not good paid, it's not well paid. You spend a lot of time. I am in Subtle, which is an association, British Association of Subtitlers for Excellence in Subtitling, and it is one of the associations in Europe. We have different branches everywhere in Scandinavia and in Germany and so on. We are not paid well. That's the thing, and we are trying to get to be paid well. That is, if you can get paid well, is fine. By the way, most of the Subtle, we are about 150 subtitlers, professional ones. Out of them, I think about maybe 95% of them are girls, because they can do it from home. It's very easy. You can do it anytime you like, in the day, at night, evenings, in the mornings, when the baby is asleep or whatever, they can do that. It's very convenient. It's very good extra money that you can do. But as a profession, if you don't have a good client who will do that, it's very difficult. Very competitive, and a lot of Egyptian subtitlers are actually getting paid very little, and they are doing the job. I have nothing against them, but this is what it is, and it affects.
But Dr. Khuddro, there is a question here, a follow-up question from Magda Bakir. Are you paid by word or by time?
Yes. Now, in terms of, I did not actually write that down somewhere. Okay. Well,
no, this is a new. Sorry, this is a new question.
Oh, it's a new question. Okay. Yeah. Well, you are paid per duration, real-time duration. So the video is 10 minutes. You charge per minute. You say £10 per minute. £10 will be an equivalent of 50 riyals, okay, per minute. Or it depends if you are subtitling and spotting, i.e. you are doing the text and the timing. If you're doing the timing plus the subtitling itself, then you charge for extra £2 extra for the timing. Most of the companies nowadays, they give you the template, they lock the timing, they lock the position, they lock the color of the font, and they lock the font itself. So you can't change the font, you cannot add subtitles, you cannot remove subtitles, you cannot merge subtitles, you cannot split subtitles. Now, it helps you in the duration because it shows you when you are typing, because because you're not aware of the timing. You type everything what's been said and you translate it beautifully, but then you look at the duration and it's read 200 something. You have to reduce the amount of words, so you have to edit down, and you need to edit down straight away because you can see the duration and the reading speed. And the reading speed for children is 120 to 140, so you have to keep in that limit. And once it becomes yellow and gets to red, you can come back to yellow, edit one word, edit two words to make it less. يعني بتفكر بالكلمة غيمة وسحابة مثلا. سحب وغيوم. سحب is 3 words, 3 letters. سحب. غيوم is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will go for سحب, not غيوم. Okay. طاولة and منضدة. Then you have to also يعني بالdubbing بتبعد عن كلمة منضدة. Why? Because the b sound is very heavy. مثل ما كانت شافك المنيري تقول لي شو هاي الكلمة تكتظ فيها ضاء حرف الضاء. قلت لها what's wrong with it؟ كنا عم نعمل برنامج سياحة. تكتظ what's wrong with it؟ قالت لي تعقوا. قلت لها تعقوا حطي تعقوا حطت تعقوا. يعني she finds تعقوا easier than تكتظ تريد. يعني so you see here we are thinking about how to pronounce. This is another dubbing session. بس يعني you can see that the choice of words is دور الأزياء وبيوت الأزياء. هي قال لا بدها بيوت الأزياء. أنا حطيت دور الأزياء. ليش حطيت دور الأزياء؟ أو كوتور. يعني it's choice of words. Choice of words. يعني each one has got their own way of looking at
preferences.
Words. Yeah. Preference. بس charging you have to charge duration per minute. في منهم بيعملوا charge per one word, point something of ما بعرف كم of a cent for one word. يعني هذه أنا I don't think it's a good one because يعني especially it depends. They go for the source text كمان. And the source text is less than the target text. So therefore they calculate according to the source text the wording when they charge, when they do the charging. Yeah, this is something I did that with one of the companies. They calculate per word, which is not really ideal because especially if you're doing timing. Timing, you need to charge good money, and don't feel intimidated by them. But they always have plenty of people who can do timing, and I can do timing in no time. And it's just a matter on the fly. I used to do it on the fly. The space bar, you press on the space bar, it's in. You press out, it's out. Depress. You depress it. You press it. The in, depress out. Press in, depress out. But this is not accurate, not frame accurate. If you want frame accurate, you have to move from one subtitle to the next, and you go to the ins. There is 2. I have an extra keyboard. I connect it to my laptop because of this keys here, which helps me moving. And then ins for insert, the in cue, and the del for the out cue, and I use that. Well, 9 is for playing the video. والأرقام هذه يعني this key, this num lock, I use it because it's very important. In the laptop, it is there, but it is messy because you have to press function key. It's a messy there. That's why I have to use this. I always, when I'm doing subtitling, I do that. And I am hiding it here and not showing you as part of the secrets.
Secrets, yes. So just one last question about another secret, perhaps, the pricing of dubbing. How do you...
Dubbing?
So, yeah.
Sorry, what
and
was
can you... The pricing...
The pricing of
dubbing assignments.
Dubbing,
and can you give the students a rough idea about what they expect, the fees?
The fees
and the rates,
for pricing. Now, I'll tell you, dubbing is excellent. Okay. It's good pay, well paid, and you read very little. You read, I remember reading 5 words. You read 5 words, you get paid £150 in pounds. That's 800 riyals. 800 riyals is a good rate. Now I think it's 200 now an hour. You do it per hour. One studio hour is 200 for you, and once it's over 2 hours, you are paid for another hour. So you are well covered, and it is the best, especially if you're doing advertising. Advertising is the best. يعني مثلا شو اسمه هذا الشعر، عملت وحدة عن الشعر، سانسيلك مثلا عن الشعر، يعني شعرك يعني you go soft and you change according to the producer who will tell you how to make it soft, how to go down and go up. مثلا عملت وحدة على النظارات 2020، يعني he was playing on the time يعني in 2020 which is the year, and 2020 your vision is 2020، يعني هو عم بيلعب على الكلمة هذه. فمثلا عملت وحدة عن الفيسبا، عن الموتورات الفيسبا. I don't know whether you know them.
We know it, yes.
Yeah,
we know.
Vispas. مثلا انه ببين ان انا بخطب مع ناس كثير بعدين، يعني you become like an actor almost, but also you need to choose the words very carefully because some words لا، في عندك الدبينج، في الفويس اوفرز، في فرق بيناتهم يا دكتور. dubbing means you are doing like مثلا مثل Lion King مثلا، Lion King. اوكي شو اسمه هذا وقت اللي بيقول له Boomba and the other guy. Yeah, okay. يعني بيستخدموا شغلات حلوة مع بعضهم، بيختاروا كلمات ظريفة، بيتناقشوا، بس هذا dubbing لأني أنت you are matching their lips. Okay, so you have to choose the words that have got flat lips flat when you say it. Like for example, E, the letter E. Okay, Saeed. Okay, whereas the where you have a round lips, you have to choose when you see the character in the cartoon saying oo, you have to find a word in Arabic that's got an oo in it. Wow, حرف الواو, so that it becomes similar من ناحية يعني ممكن يكون طاولة مثلا، طاولة منضدة ما فيها بس طاولة فيها. Okay, so you are choosing the words to match it's called lip syncing. هذه lip syncing, which you are syncing the lips of the character with the voiceover artist. This is a job in itself. أنا عملت معاها ماجستير مع واحدة من الطالبات في City University, London City University. عملت دبينج ودخلنا على الاستوديو وانبسطت كثير يعني لأني سجلت أنا وياها، فأعطتني مقطع. شوف تصور شو صار. She gave me a piece and she couldn't read all the characters. She said, "Doctor, can you please read just one of the characters?" I said, "Yeah, but I haven't seen the pictures." She said, "Doesn't matter. It's only just 2 lines." So I went into the studio and she was directing me. My student directing me, right? She said to me, "So read it." I read it and she started laughing. I said, "Why are you laughing? What did I do wrong?" She says, "The character was crying and you are making it as a happy ending." And it was a sad ending. So I had to go back and do. So you see, dubbing is a skill in itself. That's different from voiceover. اللي قلت لك إياها من شوي اللي هي مثلا عن النمس مثلا ووزن النمس لا يتجاوز وزن كيس سكر صغير. يعني كلمة صغير عملتها إنه يعني كأنه نص كيلو ربع كيلو، لكن مثلا عم نحكي على الطن على الفيل ووزن الفيل طنين 3 أطنان 4 أطنان. فيعني this is changing. But in terms of pricing you are booked as an artist. هلا في بولندا بيحطوا الفيلم كله بيحطوا one voice over artist بيدفعوا له بس له الساعتين بيقولوا له باي باي. Whereas if they want to book like the whole group of casts, each one they have to pay 200, 300. And it becomes a problem because they have to pay a lot. فيعني it's a very good, very lucrative, very, very good. I think if it is in advertising, you will get a really excellent. It's better than interpreting in terms of pay.
This is a very happy ending.
Yes.
I think with this note, we can finish with this very informative, although technical at some point, presentation. But we really enjoyed it so much, and I think that from the reactions of participants that they have enjoyed it, and the evidence for this is that they are staying late. At
I
night.
know. I can't believe
it's midnight your time. I think, Doctor.
It's all right. We are getting used because
you are getting used to that. Yes.
In the Ramadan kind of feeling still.
Yeah.
Even though I go to work 9 o'clock in the morning usually, but
okay.
But I actually booked it late in the evening.
Yeah.
Thinking of Ramadan, really, I would have. And to be honest with you, I just told you earlier, Doctor, that I didn't realize it's today. Actually, I thought it's tomorrow. Yeah, so I said to my wife, I said, is it going to be tomorrow? I have to do this session. She said, what session? I said, well, I have this workshop. I have to look. And then I looked at it. I saw, oh, no, it's 10 to 8. So there's 10 minutes. So I ran, and it turned out, no, it's not 8 Saudi time. It's 8, not Tunisian time.
Yes.
So it was, I gained 2 hours. So I
Great. And we gained a lot in these 2 hours we have been with you.
Well, I hope that you have. And you're most welcome to. You can actually always contact me. Everybody can contact me on. And I'm sorry I didn't finish the presentation.
No problem at all. We can think of another session perhaps.
Sure.
But this is by way of ending it. So I started the talk by saying that I have met that guy, American guy, who taught me how to split his mind into 3 sections. 1 for banking, 1 for art and creativity, and 1 for engineering. And we have covered this in that triangle. We started the structure, the engineering part, and then we have gone through some other artistic and creative way of saying it, translating songs, and how the interpreter or the people who are doing dubbing are acting it, playing with intonation, and so on. And we ended it up with financial, the cost, the pricing.
Indeed.
And this is a very happy ending.
Don't accept underpaid.
Underestimate your
because
competence.
If you give them very low, they might think that you are doing very poor quality work.
Perfect.
But you don't overpay.
I liked it, that very nice note with which you ended your statement, that dubbing is really a well-paid, and students are encouraged to invest in this area.
It needs to be training. It needs some training. I have actually a PowerPoint about called Know Thy Voice. For training to the. It's not very difficult. Anybody can do it. Anybody can do it with any voice. It's just a little bit of training. That's similar to people who sing. You see, when they sing, it's different from their way of speaking.
Excellent.
Their voice is different. Their level is different. It needs training. Once you get trained, you will be there.
So good. In fact, to tell you the truth, I'm not an expert in audiovisual for the reasons that you have mentioned earlier. The prices are really low, and you are investing much of your time and effort. So I'm doing basically interpreting, conference interpreting. So with that note on money, I wish you sweet dreams, because money can make sweet dreams also, but sometimes nightmares. And in Arabic we say al-mal qawam al-a'mal.
Yes.
With that note, we end this very enjoyable conversation. Let's stay tuned with encounters at the shores of translation. Tomorrow, we will be having another interesting program on the 3rd. This is the 3rd of June. We are going to start at 11 a.m. Tunis time with Daniel Gil, who is a prominent scholar of interpreting. He will be speaking about simultaneous interpreting theory and practice. You are all invited. Then at 2 p.m. Tunis time, Najat Mshela will be speaking about intercultural communication across language in time and space. And then Dr. Hanem Al-Farhati, who is with us this evening, will be speaking about Arabic-English, Arabic legal translation. I would like to make 2 other announcements. Is that the slot of scholar Sheikh Hamza Yusuf has been confirmed on the 4th, means after tomorrow, at 7 p.m. Tunis time, on interpreting Islamic religious discourse to English speakers. And the slot of Professor Noam Chomsky has been postponed but confirmed. So with that, I wish you success. I wish you sweet dreams, as I said. So goodbye and take care.